Trauma isn't just something that happened to you. It's something that stays with you. It reshapes your brain, how you see the world, and even how you relate to and interact with others. Trauma can stem from childhood abuse, emotional and mental abuse, domestic violence, assault, or any deeply distressing experience. Its effects run deep, and this list highlights the hidden struggles many survivors face every day. If you've been through trauma, we hope this video helps you feel seen and understood. And if someone you care about has faced trauma, we want to offer insight into what they might be feeling so you can support them better. Let's get started. Feeling overexposed, yet invisible in social spaces. Ever walked into a room and thought, everybody's probably looking at me? Am I too loud? Too quiet? Do they even notice I'm here? It's this exhausting tug of war where you feel like a burden for existing while also questioning if you're invisible. Research has shown that trauma can mess with your self-perception, making you hyper-aware and overly critical of how you show up in the world. This happens because trauma rewires how your brain processes emotional and social signals, making you constantly second-guess yourself. Tiny triggers, big reactions. It's not always the big things that bring back memories. Sometimes it's a certain cologne, a tone of voice, or even the way sunlight filters through a room. It could be a simple question that sends you down memory lane, a random scene in a movie, or a statement that leaves you feeling angry or in tears. This happens because trauma memories are stored in the brain's alarm system, the amygdala. Research by Joseph Ledoux shows that when certain cues trigger this system, it reacts as if the trauma is happening again, causing a flood of intense emotions even if you can't connect them to a specific memory. The cycle of saying, I'm fine. Studies show that trauma survivors often find it difficult to open up. For instance, when someone asks, are you okay? Your instinct might be to say, I'm fine. But deep down, it's like you're carrying 1,000 unspoken words. Talking about how you really feel can be exhausting. And sometimes you're afraid people might pity you or worse, not understand at all. So you hide your true feelings, saying, I'm okay, and quickly changing the subject. But the truth is, opening up and expressing what we really feel, even when it's tough, can actually lead to major health benefits, both now and in the future. Struggling to trust others. Whether it's friends, family, or a romantic partner, there's always that lingering fear. What if they hurt me too? Trauma survivors often find it hard to let their guard down because the risk of being hurt feels too high. They've been hurt before and you never wanna go through that hurt again. Flinching at kindness. According to psychiatrist Judith Herman, abusive or manipulative relationships can distort one's ability to accept kindness. As a result, you might find yourself pushing away affection because your brain associates love with pain. When someone offers genuine care, your first reaction might be suspicion. Why are they being nice to me? What do they want? Kindness feels like a trap because you've learned to associate love with strings attached. For example, when a friend buys you lunch, you immediately feel the need to repay them. Not because you don't appreciate it, but because you don't trust that kindness comes without a price. Hypervigilance disguised as just being careful. You notice everything. The subtle change in someone's tone, the creak of a floorboard, or a shadow that moves slightly differently. It's not overthinking. It's your brain in survival mode. You might find yourself constantly scanning your environment as if danger could pop up at any moment. Sometimes you might even leave a room because something feels off, only to realize later that it was just your nervous system overreacting. You didn't choose to be this way. It's your brain's way of staying alert after what you've been through. Constant apologies. Sorry for bothering you. Sorry for interrupting. Sorry if I upset you. Sorry for everything. You apologize even when you haven't done anything wrong because you've learned to believe your presence is an inconvenience. This is tied to the fawn trauma response, where you try to please or appease others to avoid conflict or rejection. Over time, this becomes a reflex, making you feel like you have to apologize for simply existing. It's a coping mechanism learned from past experiences where you had to minimize yourself to stay safe or to keep the peace. Overanalyzing interactions. After sending a message, you might reread it 10 times and still feel anxious about how it might be received. Did I sound rude? What if they think I'm upset? Even the tiniest delay in someone's response can spiral into an imagined rejection. Your brain, trained by rejection trauma, is always bracing for the worst case scenario, even when there's no real evidence for it. It's your mind's way of staying one step ahead of pain. Remember, this trauma response is often based on past fears rather than present realities. Being strong because you have no other choice. People often say, "You're so strong," but they don't see the breakdowns you have in private. You juggle responsibilities like a pro, but at night you cry yourself to sleep wishing someone else could carry the load for once. Strength wasn't a choice, it was survival. Trauma forces you to adapt, often at the expense of your emotional well-being. Research on post-traumatic growth by Tedeschi and Kalun shows that trauma can make you stronger, but it often means suppressing your emotions. It's okay to take a break and lean on others. Strength isn't about carrying everything alone. Asking for support is part of healing. Feeling numb instead of emotional. There are days when it feels like you're going through the motions, disconnected from your emotions. You might wonder, why don't I feel anything when I know I should? It's not that you don't care. Your brain has learned to block out emotions as a way to protect you. This numbness is a common trauma response that can leave you feeling detached from your own experiences. At times, it can even lead to feelings of emptiness or hopelessness. The danger is that if left unchecked, it can escalate into passive suicidality. However, there's hope. Healing from trauma doesn't mean forgetting the past. It's about creating a future where you feel whole again. It won't always be easy, but it is possible. And it starts with small, brave steps, like taking time to understand yourself better. You've already shown incredible strength by making it through each day, and that strength is still inside you. It's time to tap into it for your healing. Take things one step at a time, whether it's talking to a mental health professional, journaling, or working on changing old patterns. Slowly but surely, you'll look back and feel proud of how far you've come. So, which of these points resonates most with you? Share it with us in the comments if you feel comfortable. To learn how to heal from trauma, check out this next video. What we really need after trauma and abuse. How to heal.